Former Prime Minister Laisinian Garase has been convicted by the Suva High Court. Judge Justice Priyantha Fernando has agreed with the opinion of the assessors, finding Garase guilty of all 9 charges relating to abuse of office and discharge of duty in which he has a private interest. The court complex was jam-packed with family members and supporters who came to hear the verdict today. Devna Ryan has the details.
Garase walked into the court this afternoon with his wife Lemba Garase by his side. The courtroom itself was tense as people waited to hear Justice Fernando's ruling. Guilty. As the judge read out his ruling, there was no obvious reaction from Garase as he sat in the dock. Justice Fernando said in court that the assessors also agreed that Garase abused his office for the purpose of gain, and that was supported by evidence in court. For the defense, it's now time to prepare for mitigation tomorrow. Lawyer Thupo Ronindalo made an application for bail until the court has delivered its sentence. Garase is to report to the Samambula police station every day between 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Justice Fernando is yet to confirm when sentencing will be delivered. Devna Ryan, FBC News.
The family of a man who was crushed to death by a concrete water tank wants answers. Raj Deo Singh was working under the tank when it collapsed yesterday. Christopher Chand visited his home in Lenga.
Family members are still in shock. News of Singh's death came yesterday afternoon. His wife is left to care for their 3 children, the youngest only 2 years old.
The company should be partly blamed. How come a water tank can fall on a person? And why wasn't there any safety for workers?
The family is now making funeral arrangements. This morning, we went back to the work site in Matintar, hoping to speak to management. We were met by this sign. Upon calling that number, we were referred to James Gunaratna, the general manager of Vision Trading Limited. He declined to come on camera, but told FBC News that it's difficult to put a blame on the company. Gunaratna adds they were renovating the building, which was scheduled to open in a few weeks.
We didn't know it was going to be the last time we would see him alive. When he left home yesterday morning, he kissed the children and dropped our eldest son to school. On Sunday, he took us to visit his brother.
Raj Deo Singh was working at this location right underneath the water tank. One of his workmates had a lucky escape. He just left the site when the tragedy struck. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
Fiji is feeling friendly again toward Australia and New Zealand after years of diplomatic tensions and restrictions. The change in attitude follows a Sydney meeting yesterday. Ritika Pratap has the details.
Ratuinoke Kumbambola, Bob Carr and Mari Mekali held talks on re-engaging with Fiji and healing old wounds. New Zealand and Australia have decided to restore diplomatic ties based on recent developments in Fiji, such as the electronic voter registration and work on the new constitution. The 2 nations have also agreed to ease travel sanctions against members of the Fiji government and the military, including their family members. They will consider a more flexible implementation of travel sanctions on a case-by-case basis.
Concerns have been fulfilled. We're going to continue to watch developments in Fiji very carefully, but we have acknowledged the positive progress that has been made, and I think the meeting was a very good one, a very constructive one that looked to the future.
But the biggest step by far is the decision to send the first Australian High Commissioner to Fiji since 2009. Fiji had kicked out James Batley, accusing him of meddling in local politics. In retaliation, Fiji's envoy to Australia was also sent back. New Zealand will also exchange representatives with Suva. All 3 leaders have reaffirmed that Australia, New Zealand and Fiji will continue to work together. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.